So I woke up in the recovery room with the clamp still on my head and all the tubes down my throat. To give a kid, I was a kid, £1 million who just broke his neck. And my mum never went home. She stayed in the hospital. She never went home for a month. And I had to say to him, you've got to start getting on with your life. I've got to grow up quite quickly here. Challenge I'm going to do, I want to climb the equivalent of Mount Everest over 8 months. I was on Tramadol, a strong painkiller. The amount of times I was laid there with them, the packets next to me, going, I'm going to have this. I'm going to do it.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Man Overboard podcast. Today we're joined by Allan Clayton, a man who's had an amazing journey in life, from being a young footballer to going through an awful accident, all the way to climbing the same amount as Mount Everest within the space of 12 months, which is unbelievable. What football team were you playing for originally? This is something
I wasn't. I had ambitions of being a footballer.
Okay.
I played to a decent standard. So growing up, I represented my county, and from where I'm from, a small town, Widlington, on the East coast. So around that area, I was a good average footballer. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, representing my county, going off to France and stuff like that, and to tournaments. But it was soon apparent, at 15, that well, I didn't grow. I was a late developer. So, when everybody else grows and they're all massive, and I'm like, good football. But back then, it wasn't about the small players, it was the big players. But then I've got a few friends that did make professional, and I look at them and I was a million miles off. But in that area, I was a decent little player. But I had my accident at 17, but I was playing the best football I'd ever played the week of my accident. That pre-season, I was like,
yeah, that was the opportunity. And you were looking at your mates thinking, I was a better footballer than you. I could have definitely...
Well, I think football's my passion. I love it. I think as I'm getting older, I used to watch a lot of football. I caught Super Sunday, say if Man U, Man City was on, I'd sit and watch it. I won't now. I watch Everton, and I watch them, but the older I'm getting, I'm going, I'm not asked. But football sent me into depression. So as much as I love it, I say it sent me into depression. What happened was, after my accident, I was in a wheelchair, and they used to let me go home on weekend leave. Like being in prison, you get weekends out. And I'd go down to watch the team I was playing for. I'd drop down leagues. I started playing with mates, this new team, and it was playing in, I think it was Division 3 in the Driffield Leagues or whatever it was. And it was easy. And I'm watching them thinking, if I could get jogging, I could still play this. And then on a weekend after that, I just go and get smashed because I was like, actually, I'm watching this football. When I've looked back at it, I've like, God, I was torturing myself every weekend. So no, I wouldn't have made it.
It was essentially like you would go into something that you then couldn't do that you'd previously been in love with. So kind of developed like a love-hate relationship with.
Yeah, and then I was going out on a weekend and getting off my head, and probably been a bit of an arrogant bastard, really.
Yeah, no.
So it's a bit of an arrogant prick, really. Yeah. And I'm not like that. And I'm not. I think I'm not. I'm quite shy and reserved, really. And I was just going out. I didn't know how to handle it, so I had this accident, and then it was like just watching it and thinking, I wish I could just still do it. And in fact, it was only I've moved now. I live up in Gisborne, North Yorkshire. Teesside, as my missus likes to call it. It's definitely North Yorkshire, my Yorkshire, and I'm not moving out of Yorkshire. But I went to watch Gisborne Town play, and they played the league below Bury Town, actually. They were playing this one game. It was last season. There was these big defenders, and this guy smashed this attacker, and it was the first time I went, oh, I don't miss it.
Yeah,
I do not miss that. And I was like, yeah, that's
one of those crunching tackles. Yeah, they're the worst.
It's gone, and I've got a stepdaughter that plays football now, and I get more enjoyment just watching her play. Do you know what I mean? I get no enjoyment from Everton. I can't watch them, and it's it's great.
I feel the pain recently with Leeds and Everton in a very similar position. But you mentioned the accident there a few times. Are you able to go into what the accident actually was? Like, what happened?
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yeah, sadly. So everybody thinks young drivers, you must have been messing about, you dickhead. First time behind wheel, and it wasn't that. I was my friend had just passed his driving test, so he was a new driver. But it gave us like that sense of freedom. You could go to McDonald's for lunch. I'll get out at 6:40. You didn't have to just go to the local chippy. And this girl wanted to lift home. She lived in the next village, so we're taking it. It was a bit of a crap, wet day. dropped her off, I had a cup of tea, and we were coming back just down a country road, and we were actually doing 50 mile an hour. So the speed limit was 60. We weren't messing about, weren't doing anything wrong, just driving along. And we came across a situation you'd come across every day. You know, like a car waiting at this side of the road, waiting to pull across. We thought we were just going to go straight past him. And he just decided to pull in. So we smashed into him and then smashed into a tree, doing 50 mile an hour. And we'd probably been better smashing into him, really.
Just straight on.
Yeah, but sadly that would have probably killed his wife. And anyway, we hit a tree. There was 2 people in the back. And then I was the front seat passenger. Driver got out, came round, and I was just being strangled, seatbelts right across my neck. It was there was blood just dripping down my face. Turns out I had a tiny little cut on top of my head, but it was it just dripping, and it felt like the engine was on my lap. I'll have to get you a picture of the car. I'll send you, you know, if you want to put it over, because it's
we will.
When you see it, you'll be, but I could look down, so I was stuck in like that position, and I could just see this hand, and my head's telling this hand to move, but I couldn't move it. It was like making this weird movement, and I thought, oh, I've broke my arm. I've never broken a bone before, so I thought, it's my arm. First thought, Eric Cantona played with a pot in his hand, didn't he? Honestly, that was my first thought.
At least I can still play football.
I can still play football. Got airlifted. I remember taking off. Got airlifted to Hull Royal, which is by car an hour away. And they opened me up that night and put metalwork in the front. So I broke C4, 5, and 6, which is here.
Okay.
So they opened me up there and put metalwork in. So that was the first operation. But they gave me like 5% chance of using my arms and legs again.
What was the initial feeling like when you heard that for the first time?
I can't remember it, to be honest. Yeah. I remember a little bit of it was called Dr. O'Brien, and he came because I was 17. So my parents were having to sign everything. They couldn't actually do it without their say. And I remember him coming and doing a drawing next to me. And I remember him saying that this one was so close to my voice box. So it's called it voice box.
Yeah.
But, that I might need one of those machines.
Oh,
you see people talking.
Yes, yeah.
One of them. It was like millimeters away from
the larynx something.
Is that what it is?
Some one of those, isn't it?
Yeah.
I forget what it's called.
So it was going to be close to that. So that's what I remember. And I don't remember anything else. I remember waking up. My mum, bless her, I just turned around and I didn't turn around. I couldn't move. First thing I said was, "I want to go to the toilet." So I had a catheter in and all stuff like that. I didn't know what a catheter was.
Yeah.
Oh, so much shoved up there. It's like, so yeah, that was it. That was first thing. But then I had another operation 3 weeks later where they took bone from my hip and opened me up at the back and did the same at the back. But that one, they didn't give me enough drugs. So I woke up in the recovery room with the clamp still on my head and all the tubes down my throat, which still not haunts me when I go to the dentist. It's the one thing I still struggle with, dentists. So when they were in my mouth, you can't stand it.
Yeah, I can imagine. I'd be exactly the same.
I always have to say to Dave, like, listen, I explain what happened to me. I says, I get anxious about this. I'm a bit of a nightmare. So because I usually tell them that my dentist is really good with me because they get it.
Yeah.
And they know that I'm a bit fidgety and tongues all over.
That's it. Well, I mean, it's not a surprise, really. I mean, if it's going to be one of those situations where it's like, I don't want anything to do with this now.
Yeah. It puts me in that thing again for some reason, and it's like, I don't like it.
So after the accident happened and you'd had these operations, what did life look like for a little bit?
So I spent 4 weeks in Hull, and then they transferred me to Pinderfields, the spinal unit in Wakefield. They took me on a trolley, and I'm looking around because again I was laid flat, still couldn't move. There was nothing, no more movement. I look around, I was like, everybody was in wheelchairs. I've not seen anybody really in a wheelchair. It's old people in wheelchairs. I've seen younger people in wheelchairs. I was like, shit. And my mum in Hull never went home. She stayed in the hospital. She never went home for a month. And I had to say to him, you've got to start getting on with your life. I've got to grow up quite quickly here. So that's what it looked like. I was like, shit, reality's kicked in now. It's time to get better. But somebody told me this the other day. They said, oh, you must have been really mentally strong. I think there must have been a bit of that. But also I believe 17, I was cocky. I think that's what got me through. So when doctors are saying, listen, you're probably not going to walk again. I generally do a bit. It was a bit. I told my football manager I'd be back on pitch by Christmas.
Just straight.
That's when I didn't realise the severity of what had gone on. And I was very high on drugs at the time. I thought I'd be back on the pitch by Christmas, but it was like, hey, I've got to grow up pretty quick here.
Yeah, I bet that was maybe not humbling is probably not the correct word, but a time in life where you went from being a kid to an adult very, very quickly.
Yeah, I thought I did, but actually looking back, I was a little boy.
No.
But you do that and you take the accident away. You guys yourself, when you're 18, all of a sudden with a big man out, we're 17.
That's it, yeah.
It's a little bollocks really, innit?
Yeah.
We're little boys, aren't we?
Yeah.
We just like to think we are. So in my head, I think, I did grow up because I dealt with it. Kind of, I had to get on with it. But when I do actually look back, I was like, little boy.
I know what you mean, actually. Sometimes I think, do you know, like in America, you're not an adult until you're 21.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, in England, people drink from when they're like 14, but sometimes I kind of get the American approach. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm 22 now, and I only just feel like I'm starting to like properly become an adult and be a bit more like responsible.
Me then.
Yeah.
I probably didn't start feeling mid-30s. But I think that's because I was probably early 30s. When I look back, I was severely depressed for a lot of those years, so I think that's why I didn't. So
then
not suffering.
That's it, yeah. And then you can get to the point where then clarity kicks in. It might be a bit later in life or a bit earlier in life, but as long as you get to that point, it doesn't matter.
I definitely feel that now because I think, I'm getting old. That's it. What now? Flying.
The reality kicks in.
Yeah.
After the accident, when did you start like making progress? Obviously, you were in the hospital. They said, well, you're seeing these people in wheelchairs and stuff. What was the progression like from that point?
I got a bit of movement in my leg, I think. In the middle of the night, I go back to sleep. Move my leg. Shit, what's going on there? There, go back to sleep. I kept it from everybody. And it was actually the driver of the accident, who I'm still friends with. He came to visit me. And my mum and dad was there, I think. And I've got something to show you. I moved it, and there was just tears and stuff like that. But before that, they'd actually tried to sit me up in a wheelchair, and I was just spewing everywhere because I'd been laid flat for 6 weeks. So it was horrible. But that little bit of movement back, it kind of spurred them on to go, come on, then let's see what I can do. Listen, I work my ass off. I got a bit of luck as well, because there's a lot of people, you walk and you should be right. You saw how I walked in, I walk with a limp, can't use this hand. There's still the effects of a spinal cord injury, bowels and bladder. I know when I need to go, but there's no control. There's a lot of other stuff, but people go, you're walking, you're all right.
Yeah, and it's not, it's not, well, that's the thing, it's not always what you see at surface level, is it?
No.
You don't, people just presume.
Going on underneath that I've had to, deal with every day. So, it's, it was just funny, just getting that movement back, I remember, and just, I got to sleep. And I must have been I had this little bit of facial hair there, and all that I wouldn't shave off because I was like, it's good.
Shave it off
now. It looked terrible.
You just kept it for years.
Yeah, well, I kept it for a while, because I was like, I can't shave it off. And I was, when I was in hospital, I was a vain kid. I still am vain, to be honest. The first thing I said to my wife, I like looking at myself in the mirror. I got the nurses to shave my hair off. Because I couldn't do my own hair, because I couldn't move my hands. And I'd lost all my weight. So when I had my accident, I was same size as my dad. I was 5'8", about 11 stone, something like that. I was all right. I was never big, but I was all right.
Yeah.
When they first stood me up, I was 6 foot. Depends who you ask. I'm 6 foot on my good leg. My friends definitely don't say I'm 6. I dropped down to 7 stone.
That's a massive difference. Yeah.
So what's that? So like over a third of your body weight, pretty much. Yeah, that's
like going for a shit at your ass. And
I suppose so. We saying between the time that you had the accident and the recovery, you'd grown in height as well.
When they first took me up, I'd obviously puberty.
He's going through that time. Yeah. And that's interesting.
Yeah.
So then that must have been. Well, I mean, the whole situation was obviously very surreal, but all these extra things that you don't consider, like...
I think, 17... Well, I had my 18th, so they let me home. My first weekend home was my 18th birthday. My 18th, so I had the accident was 16th, 17th of September. I always get the date. I think I always say 16th, and my sister always pulls me up on it. My birthday's end of November 29th. They let me home for my first weekend on that November, but I wasn't ready to go home. I'd never been in a car before. Do you know what I mean? They fast tracked it for me, and I was only allowed to do certain things when I was at home, which I completely ignored. I managed to get upstairs first weekend. I was.
Was that the little cocky side in you going, they told me I can't, but I bloody can?
Yeah, and I think
I think also it's kind of like, would you say it's like not wanting to accept the fact that they're saying this, and you kind of in the back of your mind you're going, come on.
There's probably something in that. Yeah, because the attitude I had was like, you'll leave hospital with a wheelchair, and you'll need a wheelchair for long distance, and you'll need walking aids. And I was like, no chance. No chance. What's this kind of thing? It was that. It was... They got really used to it. It's weird because you know how you think of a hospital? Inderfield didn't like that. It's like family. Which sounds really weird. But I was only there for rehab, so the nurses become your mates. You know, the medication I was on, I was self-medicating because they just come and go, right, Allan, there's your medication for a week. I'm on a wing, so because I couldn't dress myself, you know, I didn't need care, so I was only there for rehab. Like, it was that good because I was on the wing with, it was like not the better ones, the ones that were looking after themselves were on this balcony kind of thing, and they wouldn't turn the lights off the balcony because they knew I'd be moody in the morning, and then they'd wait and they'd just leave me a cup of tea. At the time I didn't like coffee, so they'd just leave me a cup of tea and bring me bacon butty. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I look back, it was brilliant. As much as it's horrible, but it was actually brilliant.
I think people in places like that can make all the difference, can't they? Like when there's people that are going to be stuck in there for months and for a long time like you were, it's the people working that...
Yeah, and it's all the other... You encourage each other, these people there, and it's like I was the pizza boy. So the food was crap. So if it was every Wednesday, I'd go around. We'd order pizzas, and I'd be the one that'd go around collecting the money because I could walk. And I'd go around collecting because once they, like the people that were in chairs were in bed, they were stuck in bed then. I think at that time I was the only walker on the ward. That's why my story is different now. There's a lot more spinal cord injury walkers, but back then I was seen as the miracle. People didn't really walk off a spinal, or they do now, thankfully. And these people that are doing what I do, but more advanced than what I do now. Do you know, like getting up mountains and all that kind of stuff, which I love because it's like, oh, go on, go smash it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
I think another thing that people don't consider when it comes to, you know, the hospitals and the NHS as a whole and all this stuff is in recent years where there's obviously been massive flaws in the NHS, and people, obviously we've given a lot of support to the NHS, but there's also been an influx of, they're not doing anything, this, that, and the other. And I think it's such a toxic mindset to have because it's not the people within the NHS that are the issue. So to blame them is just ridiculous.
The nurses, it's understaffed, underpaid, and the stuff they do. And I look back, like for me, just little things like when I couldn't move, I was having to have male and female nurses bath me at the age of 17, you know, naked. Then that's as horrible as that, that's a bit of a dark place I take myself sometimes to go. You know, when something embarrassing, you know, like if you got to do karaoke because I can't sing, take myself back to that place because it can't be as bad as that.
One of those little things in life now that seems like a big issue, but in reality, there's been much bigger ones. So
nurses are on to do stuff like that. I was having an enema shoved up my ass every morning, then letting myself shit the bed, and then they clean it up. It's like they're getting paid shit to do that.
Shit. And for you to have a first-hand experience is...
Yeah, I think these people deserve... I couldn't have got through without them.
No, not at all. No.
They deserve the world. They certainly deserve more than the clap that they got throughout COVID.
And then the government now are taking them to court and all that. And I'm like, my God.
It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
I understand that after the accident and after maybe you'd recovered to a certain extent, you got some compensation of some kind. How did that come about? Because
the accident, it wasn't our fault. It was the old gentleman's fault. So because it changed my life. We got a compensation package, but my solicitor did ring me up and said, at least I was one of them that they'd come around and do assessments on me. I was a bit proud, and they were saying, well, can you feel that? Yeah. Can you do it? Yeah. And they're saying, shh. And he did. He rang me and says, carry on going, you couldn't get nothing. He said, I'm not asking you to lie, just be honest. Instead of So yeah, I got I think I was 21 when I actually got it. I got £1 million. Which sounds a lot.
It does, but in the grand scheme.
Yeah, and to give a kid, I was a kid, £1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Who just broke his neck.
Mm-hmm. Who's now back, and you know, you've got your mobility back.
Yeah.
You had that time where you've been stuck.
And nobody ever once asked me if I was all right. We didn't talk about it back then.
Mm-hmm.
I was seen as this strong man who walked out of hospital because you didn't walk out of this miracle, so you must be all right. And when I look back, I'm like, fucked.
Yeah, mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been a very tough place, especially like getting that £1 million as well. Everyone would probably see that as, oh, well, he's definitely all right then. He's managed to walk out of hospital. He's got £1 million.
Yeah.
What did you end up doing with that money? Or what did you spend it on?
I bought some stupid cars. I didn't buy stupid cars. I bought some nice cars, but nothing extreme.
Yeah.
When I say that, I didn't have a Porsche, Ferrari. Do you know what I mean? I had a nice BMW.
Yeah, but
And I had a Range Rover.
They're like mid-high tier, nice. Not luxury.
No.
Yeah.
I like my clothes. Still do. But I invested. I got involved with the wrong people, basically. You know the big Ferris wheels you see? Bought one of them.
Yeah.
That's a random shout.
Random thing. So I went down I had no purpose. I had nothing to do, and I worked down on this seafront before, and so I already knew the people, and you know, I thought everything was all right. And you know, when I look back, this stuff like this would never happen now. And I bought a beautiful carousel, a big wheel and a mini wheel, and then I also I had a friend come and see me who wanted me to invest in ink toners, printers. Set up one of their business in that, which we did, but it turns out that didn't go too well either.
So would you say it was a time that, you know, you're young, you've had this influx of cash, you suddenly had a lot of friends? Was it one of those situations?
Friends as well.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it was always like you'd go out and you'd do well with the girls and stuff like that, but I was a bit of a knob to them because when I look back, like not intentionally, but when I actually like thought about it, right, I've got a nice house, nice car, I'm 7 stone wet through. You know, I can't look in the mirror. Why do they like me? Turns out they were really nice. And then some of them married to my friends, they're lovely people. It was nothing to do with them. It was all me. So yeah, and it was just going out. You had people and decent people. Some of them I don't see anymore. But I've still got my core group of friends. I've got a core group of friends that have been with me from football.
Yeah,
that's good. 8 to being by my bedside when the accident happened, to partying with me, to being skint with me, and still be with me now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, through thick and thin. That's it.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We live together. We live like men behaving badly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't change it.
No, of course
I
not.
wouldn't change it because I got asked this the other week. It's by my wife actually. She says, "What did she say? Something about would you change it or something like that?" So I won't change a thing. I said, because if I started all that money, I wouldn't have met you. I won't be doing the job. I've got like the best job in the world now. So I won't be doing that.
Life would be completely different.
Yeah, and like the businesses just went. I looking back, I was severely depressed. I lost my mum. My mum was my best mate. I had a mum that I could tell anything to. You know, like I say, she spent the month in hospital with me.
Yeah.
She died of cancer suddenly, and I was only 24. So, you know, really suddenly.
Yeah, that's
to a point of she beat breast cancer, got it back. I'd been in Cyprus at a wedding. Got it back. I got back on the Sunday night, went to see her. Monday, I took her to see the doctor. They rushed her into hospital. Thursday, they told me she had terminal cancer, but 3 months to a year to live. Monday, she passed away.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah. And I was 24.
Like that, isn't it? Ripped away. Yeah.
My best mate. And at the time, I thought I was undoing it, but it was 2nd of October. I had my 25th birthday end of November, and I remember my 25th birthday just went out for a meal, went to a lovely Chinese in Brid, all my mates there. I think my family were there. And I remember getting into bed. I never felt as lonely in my life and just cried myself to sleep. And I was thinking, really kicked in of shit.
This is, because I suppose you've also, it sounds like you didn't fully process what had happened to you years before anyway, and you were still unable to process. Yeah.
So that's when everything was spiraling, and I signed a contract that I used to be very bitter towards the people that I was in business with.
Right.
And like I say, it would never happen now because I'm a fully functioning grown man.
Yeah.
I tell them where to go. But I was really scared. But I signed that bit of paper. I knew that was financial suicide, reading it. I signed it. Nobody got my hand and did that.
Yeah.
Signed it. And until the day I did take accountability for that, I really did struggle with it. I was very bitter, I hated them, thinking of ways and, horrible stuff that it just isn't made, like, I don't know the way I was brought up. I was brought up in this, my dad's a grafter, worked his ass off, so I could go play in these tournaments I spoke about because he had to pay for it. I'm not like that, and it's twisted.
Yeah, I think in those situations though, it's also very hard for for myself definitely to be able to fully understand, the magnitude of the events that have happened. But I think you can fully understand why, your emotional and mental state would be completely shattered by that point. Like you would have just.
So I lived in Bridlington, and the amount of times I was on Tramadol, a strong painkiller. The amount of times I was laid there with them, the packets next to me, going, I'm going to have this. I'm going to do it. Never actually did. Never attempted it, never did. But nobody ever knew about that until a few years ago. And then I decided I've got to get away from here. It wasn't so much the seafront. It was my mum. It wasn't. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The business is the business. Money is money. I'd lost my own. There's too many memories there. I couldn't give two shits about the business.
Yeah. Bollocks to that. Yeah.
And I thought, if I stay here, I'm going to kill myself. And my sister just had 2 little boys. And I thought, I can't do this. I've got to get away. So I moved to Leeds. I knew 4 people in Leeds and just thought, I'm going to start a new life. So, I moved here in 2009.
Never looked back?
No. Do you know what I did? I was back there this weekend, actually. My goddaughter's 18. God, I felt old. Fucking him. 30, hell. I remember being warm. She's 18. So I went back for a party. Me and my wife went back, and it was great seeing everybody. But I've started to go back, not hating the place. I spent a lot of years. I could feel my attitude when I was driving back. I could feel my attitude changing. I don't anymore. Yeah, I go back. I love going back to see my family, and there are a few friends there and everything. So yeah, it's changed a bit.
Would you say in the times when you first got that money and you were going out and spending it all and getting the cars and stuff, there was maybe a bit of insecurity driving those purchases and stuff, just with like what had happened in life and where you were, if that made sense?
Probably was, because like I said, I didn't even understand the value of money. So when somebody gives you £1 million, I didn't know what a direct debit was. I was standing order. Yeah. So then you give somebody £1 million as well. So it's like, just don't add up. My dad was saying, listen, we should do this, and this, but I always saw my dad as, my dad's great with money. You know, not great, but he's always looked after his money. And, but at that age, I thought it was boring. I didn't really know how much £1 million. I didn't think it was going out.
And also, I feel like with £1 million as well, you'd think like if you were to spend 100 grand on something, you go, that's only 10%. I've got 90 more of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So you think, well, I know.
But the car was probably, thinking about it. I didn't at the time, but actually, it probably was.
I kind of look at it as my one thought, and it's probably something I've heard a million times in my life, is like, oh, if you won the lottery, would you tell anyone? Do you know what I mean? When people say that, because they're like, oh, well, people might start acting differently, people might start asking for stuff, etc. So I always think it must be tough, especially at that young of an age, like to be gifted that. It'd make me question, like if anyone new came around me, I'd be a bit like, oh shit, like try to work out if it's a real relationship.
I don't think I was emotionally intelligent enough to think like that.
Right.
I completely agree with you now. I would, definitely now.
Yeah.
But back then, I don't think I was emotionally intelligent enough to even consider that.
Yeah.
And like you say about the cars, thinking about it, probably was that. But at the time,
You were just spending.
That's nice.
And you've got to think as well, at that young of an age, I think anybody, not even just yourself, would be in a dilemma of, I'm 21, what the hell do I spend this £1 million on?
Yeah, and it wasn't just the money, it was I was probably going and buying clothes, buying the clothes to go whack and go do it, and I'd spend a fortune on clothes that didn't fit me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture somewhere of, this expensive shirt that's hanging off me. I just look and it makes me sad because it's like, I just lost. Lost. Do you know, the face is really, it's quite a sad picture, really.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's like, catty on my wrist.
Yeah.
Expensive. Do you know what I mean? It's like, from the outside, you should have a nice watch and all that.
That's it. Yeah.
The good material things.
Yeah.
I get you.
And Bridlington's like that. It still is. When you look back now, it's like, who's got the car and who's got the gossip, and they're all trying to beat each other. And I'm thinking, my God, I'm glad I'm not in that. By the way, not my friends too. But there is people in Bridlington that are very much like that. Look at my watch, look at my car, and I'm like, I'm glad I'm not part of that, because I was a bit like that, because I was like, I got the first Range Rover Sport in Brid. I was clearly like that.
Yeah. And look, I mean, with that being the case, you can see why you would then get down that path anyway. Yeah. Because that subliminally, you've got all sorts of things going on, and the age that you are, and this, that, and the other.
But I'm all for, if people want to be like that and they're happy.
Yeah.
It's not like they're wrong for that.
Mm-hmm.
Just if
that's what they like, that's what they like.
Yeah.
If they can afford it, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm all for it. It's just the older I've got, the more I'm like, I'm not.
I know what you mean, actually. Like, the things that I would even spend money on now, like if I was to win the lottery, I'd probably go buy a new TV. Well, I'd probably buy a house, actually, like a massive house. But I don't know, I'd just buy
I don't know if you get a massive house for £1 million these days.
Yeah, true, actually. I'd buy a 1-bedroom flat in London. Yeah. So lighten it up a little bit, we've got a question that we ask everyone on the podcast. And it is for your dream festival. So we're big gig goers, and a lot of the guests we have on are like musicians and bands, etc. Yeah. So everyone that comes on, we ask them for a dream festival. So for a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday night headliner. Right. It can be anyone, alive or dead, a group, an individual. We've even had people create super groups before where they merge people together.
It'll be really boring because I'm a bit of a gig goer.
Nice.
But so the Friday night, my go-to band is like a bit of a sad group who haven't really. Have you heard of a band called Embrace?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. Oh,
Embrace from the 90s, it's like Britpop, kind of just after Oasis,
Yeah. They're quite a good shout. I feel like it'd ease you into the weekend on a Friday night as well.
See, I've never been to a festival, so this is new to me.
Haven't you?
No, because of my injury. I love the thought of them. I just think, like the thought of Glastonbury, it's just too much for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I imagine like when I'm at Leeds Fest, it's a ball ache getting to the toilet and stuff. So
like that. Yeah, the thought of it, I love. Reality,
the actual idea of
So do you have the main one on the Sunday night or the Saturday night?
So it depends. If you want to end it on a big one, you can put your main one on the Sunday. Yeah, you can build up, or there's sometimes a peak where it comes back down on the Sunday.
See, I'm going with bands that I love going to watch.
Yeah, that's what you should.
Yeah. I'm going to change, actually. Not change. The Saturday would be Support Act Shed 7.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I actually think I emailed Shed 7 asking if they wanted to come on the podcast the other week because they're doing a Millennium Square gig.
Yeah, I'm off to it.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
I've seen that, and I've listened to them a few times throughout the years, and I know some mates who have been to see them. And I thought, well, they might get back to us. We've had some people of like a similar size, but I've not heard out yet.
Yeah, they're superb live.
Are they?
So it's just a big karaoke. Yeah, and what a frontman he is. Main act for the Saturday night would be, and this surprised me a bit actually, would be Richard Ashcroft.
Ooh, yeah.
I never got the Verve thing. Mm-hmm. Never really got it really. And then I went to watch him at Millennium Square last year. A few mates. My wife was hammering. She's like, "Oh, it's the Steve Davison of music." Oh, he's unbelievable. He blew me away. He was that good.
He's a proper old school rock and roll star, isn't he?
He was class. I was like, this guy, and I was like, I've not stopped listening to him since.
He's one of those where once you find out how he is as a person, you go, oh, yeah, all of that shit in the 90s, that all makes sense now.
He's just, the guy was It was class.
I always remember seeing it was like a BBC or a Look North interview where he refuses to take his sunglasses off.
Yeah.
And he's sat on the sofa going, no, I'm wearing what I want.
Yeah.
I think he stands on the sofa at one point.
Yeah, it was just class. I wasn't expecting it, and I think that's what. And that happened the other year, actually. I'm going to watch them in July as well. Ocean Court Scene. I went to watch them at Millennium Square. Not really that asked, because Shed 7 was supporting them, and I thought, go for Shed. And Ocean Court Scene would just do brilliant. I was like, going to them now.
There you go. Yeah.
But then the Sunday night, I'm not massively into them as a support act, but every time I've watched them, they've been class. Kasabian.
Ooh, okay. So were we talking, which Kasabian are we talking now?
I've not seen them with...
Right, because I think this is the first...
Well, yeah, they've just released the first album.
So I've not heard that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I'm not a go-to album with them. Live. They blow me away every time. And I kind of judge a band if I'd go travel. If I'd travel to go see them, because I'm a bit of a lazy sod, but if I save them for any, I'd go to it. I'd judge on that. And then I'd end the weekend with Oasis.
Oh, fantastic. All right. Yeah.
First time we've heard Oasis.
I think it's the first time we've had Oasis as a full answer. I think we might have had like one of the Gallaghers as part of a super group at one point. I think someone merged them together.
Oasis is... Gigs have got expensive.
Gigs have got so expensive.
So expensive. You remember the days you trade. I'm all that. I used to pay 14 quid to go to a...
Yeah.
Like now it's like 70 quid. I'm like, 70 quid?
It's absolutely... Even the small gigs are coming up to £40 now. And you think, like, at Leeds Stylus, at like the uni, and you think, what am I paying for it?
Exactly that. But I have said, if Oasis get back together, I'll go, whatever it costs, I'll do, or try. I'll have a go. But I've been to see them. I remember going to watch them in Barcelona, didn't have a ticket. Me and my mate went, let's play in Barcelona at weekend. Some cheap flights. Okay, let's go. Didn't have tickets, no, just booked it and went to watch Barcelona. Went to watch them in Barcelona, did the football tour and all that.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Irish club smashed. It was great. I've seen them in Dublin 3 times.
I feel like you're just rubbing it in now. I've never even had the opportunity to see Oasis.
Yeah, and I've been very fortunate. I've seen Oasis quite a lot of times. Embrace, I dread to think how many times. Ashcroft just the once. Shed 7 that many times.
Need to get that Ashcroft number up. I've seen Liam once, and I'm seeing him again in the summer.
That Virtue's Oasis.
Yeah.
Because he just goes and does all the Oasis.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he says these are all mad.
I've been to watch Liam. I think I've only seen Liam once. Twice.
I think the closest I've got to that era is Stone Roses. I saw them a couple of years ago at Leeds Direct Arena. When they so
I'm not into them, but my wife is. And to Wembley to watch.
So when they were live, I think they were a really good band. I think the guitarist, the drummer, and all that. But I think Ian Brown.
Exactly. I said, put Liam Gallagher in there.
Yeah, and you've got phenomenal.
So I came away. I was like, you can't sing his shit.
Yeah.
Did you see his recent tour where he was like not even doing anything? He was just walking right stage.
He booed him and stuff like that. Was
unreal.
Yeah. He were like 35 quid a ticket though originally. Imagine if you paid that and he just walked around stage and didn't even sing.
Didn't have a band or nothing.
Yeah, it was crap. Yeah. But yeah, me and my wife have all this because she's massive Stone Roses, I'm Oasis, and I was just take the piss because they did all the remastered stuff, didn't they? And every track's about 10 minutes long as it comes on the Spotify. I say, this will get us home then. Well,
yeah. You gotta wait for all that reverb to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was crap.
Yeah,
but band-wise, brilliant.
Yes, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah, I've never seen Noel. He's doing Leeds Arena in December, and I looked.
Yeah, and into that as well.
See, I nearly got tickets. I was going to take my mum because she's a massive she likes a lot of Noel's individual songs as well. But it were like 100 quid a ticket when I looked. Yeah. It might have been because
50, I think.
It might have been Ticketmaster adding on that, to do that surge charge thing. But I can't pay 100 quid just and that was like sat Nate God's as well.
It's steep up there.
Yeah.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
I feel like you're a million miles away.
It gets a bit steep for me.
I feel like you're in the Coliseum. Yeah.
It's like being in Nou Camp all over again.
Yeah, it is.
So taking it back, after you'd recovered and spent all your money that you were awarded, how did you try to massively improve your fitness and stuff? What was the journey like there?
I was doing bits in the gym and stuff, but I didn't. When I look back, I just didn't look after myself. I just kind of plodded, I think. And when I was here, I just kind of got on with it. I only started really the change in me and the mountains and all that has only been since, I don't know if I'm 30. No, that's a lie. The way the mountains came about, have you ever heard of Rosebery Topping?
No, I don't think I have.
So Rosebery Top, if you were to draw a mountain, you draw Rosebery Topping.
Mm-hmm.
And we live right at the bottom of it. So I met my missus on Tinder. So she was working in Leeds. I mentioned before, I'm a bit lazy. So my previous girlfriend, she lived in Bridlington, so I was travelling, and I thought, I'm not doing that again. I want to meet someone in Leeds. I've got a nice city centre apartment. I want to meet someone in Leeds city centre. I'm not moving.
Yeah.
It turns out she was working in Leeds. I didn't realise she was working. But anyway, for a year I was just driving up to hers, and she lives virtually at the bottom of Rosebery Top, and brilliant that. And then on the anniversary, not the anniversary, my mum's birthday in 2017, so should we ever go at it? And I managed it. I did it in jeans and she's passing me really cups of tea at the top with about 10 sugars in, passing out. And, but what happened up there was I got these unbelievable views. And what I didn't mention is doctors told me I'd been in a wheelchair at 40. So I've always had this in the back of my head. Wheelchair at 40. I had these unbelievable views, and something kind of happened when it was like that 17-year-old kicked in again of going, okay, you can do this, and that drive, that hospital kind of determination kicked in again. And I thought, I'm going to start doing something. I want to do something. The charity thing came up. I want to do something for charity, and the usual Yorkshire Free Peaks, and so I don't want to do that. Everyone does it. No. Not that I'm... No, it's a bloody hard thing to do.
Yeah.
And actually, I couldn't actually do that. But yeah, maybe. But I don't want to. So I'm not, because it's really hard. But what I mean by that is that's usually people's go-to.
Yeah.
It's the first option on the list.
Yeah.
One of those where it's go, have you done 3 peaks? Yeah, I've done 3 peaks. And it becomes like, you did
I wanted something that was going to turn more people.
Yes, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So that's when I'd started looking after myself just before that. I got into the gym. I was working out with I've got a couple of mates that are in wheelchairs. I was working out with them in Halifax. They just hammer me because they're like upper body strength on, and they all play wheelchair rugby.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in wheelchairs, but like
just huge.
So, and they're like weak, no movement in my shoulder. And, yeah, so that I didn't, going back to that period, I didn't actually really look after myself. I'm amazed, I survived. Going down Call Lane when it's packed, I just get smashed. Because I've never had a problem with drink. I've always been a binge drinker. I've never woke up I need a drink. I've never been addicted to anything. But when I look back, I was drinking to get smashed.
Like when you had one, you were like, right, here we go then.
Yeah.
You're there for the night then.
I was playing the big guy to, I'm having fun, but I was like, let me get smashed and I don't care, kind of.
A lot of people say it's like drinking to forget. That's yeah.
Drinking to forget, but in the moment, you're thinking you're doing it because you're like, I like getting smashed. And it's like you're doing it, but you don't know why you're doing it. Yeah, of course.
And then on the city next day, not speaking to anybody and just spewing all day and being horrible and not doing that again, but weekend comes again, you bash it back. And I was in this bad habit of, and people didn't realise this. I used to go down Call Lane, and I knew a few people down there, so you walk straight in, get the odd free drink, and all the usual stuff. And on social media, it looked like I was living my best life. And I got my apartment during the week. People didn't realise that the anxiety took over so bad. I'd get to the front door and just sweaters coming up me, pounds on my hands, and you could see it. I just couldn't get out my door. And people would ring, well, what have you done? I'd lie. Yeah, I've done this and this today. I was thinking, I know it's reruns of Top Gear all day.
Yeah. I've been stuck on the settee. Yeah.
Off it. People didn't realise that. And then I wrote a mental health blog before people were really writing them. And I got inundated with messages saying, you help me? Help you? I can't help myself yet. What do I help you?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how it all started, really.
So, what kind of year was this, just roughly?
When I mean, since 2017. For about 2015.
Yeah.
15, 16, something like that.
Yeah.
So where did it switch from the blog to you actually taking on some of these feats and doing these?
2 years later.
2 years.
So the challenge came from when I climbed, got up Rosebery Topping. say climbed, it's not that big. You know, when I look at it now, I went away, came down that next day of the weekend. I thought, right, the challenge I'm going to do, I want to climb the equivalent of Mount Everest over 8 months, because that's how long I was in hospital for. So I thought, right, it can coincide with that. And I just plotted all the big peaks all over England and thought, right, I'll do that. I'll end on Ben Nevis. So I'll do all the big ones and it'll all work out. But then I did it over 8 months, and it was quite hard because I'd never done anything like it before. I didn't know how my fitness was I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know how I was going to be on a mountain. And the first one I did is called Highcliffe Nab. You can see it out my house now, and up there, out the office window, you can see it. And it's a walk up a farm track. What is it? It's easy. I couldn't move for a week.
Bloody hell.
Do you know? And I'm thinking, I've got 8 months to climb.
You think, yeah, and you've got all these coming off, yeah.
And at the time, I was a trainee counsellor. So I was trying to be a trainee counsellor at college and trying to negotiate all that whilst doing this. It was challenging. It really was. I had to go some dark places there doing that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Even like the thought of walking. I'd quite like to do Ben Nevis, but I couldn't do that. Like, I'm so unfit.
If I can do it.
No, I mean, I could, but as in like right now, in my current state, I'd have to do what you did and put months of training into it.
Ben Nevis is just a long walk.
Is it?
Yeah, there's nothing technical on Ben Nevis.
Oh, I was under the impression that it was like there was maybe some more tricky bits in there. Not that I'm underplaying it.
No, it's hard. It's a long, but it's a long walk. There is, if you wanted to, go, like the north face of Ben Nevis is one of the hardest climbs in the world.
Wow.
Problem with going up somewhere big like that is mountains have been called the tourist tracks. So Ben Nevis main track up, it's called the tourist track, and I think they might change it now. People think they can just go up wearing jeans and hoodie. You go 4,000 foot. When I did it, sunshine at the bottom, snow on top.
Bloody hell.
Do you know? Like,
it's that high up. Yeah.
It's the weather. Can like Mountain Rescue. I think somebody died on the mountain that weekend. Mountain Rescue went up 4 times. The helicopter. I was on it.
Crazy.
And because people just think, oh, it's all right.
I think, and it's one of those where they'll end up thinking it's all right. They'll get to halfway up and they'll go, bloody hell, I'm screwed.
Weather turns up. Yeah. I've been on so many mountains where it's like, and that was the thing, because I wanted the wheelchair thing was in the back of my head. I wanted the views. During the period, the 8 months, I hardly got any. I was going out in all sorts. It was like the worst luck. But it changed because it was bringing so many people together.
Yeah.
People talking that I'd never spoken before, and then going, oh, I'm getting into this. And I get like enjoyment out of that. I get enjoyment out of seeing other people happy, and I'm passionate about stuff like that. And I was like, I clicked that I enjoyed that.
What was that feeling like when you summited Ben Nevis? Sorry, I was going to say Ben Everest.
Well, Ben Everest. Yeah.
Funny enough, really,
Were you just knackered? I imagine when she got to the top, you're like,
well, I popped the question on top of Ben Nevis.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I asked me, so I took 38 people up. So 38 people came up with me, and got to top. I was really laggy with this guy because my mate who did all the peaks with me, I got him to carry the ring up with me. Got him to carry the ring up for me. And he gave me 8 bucks. I can only use one hand. The legs are killing. I'm thinking, right, go get down. And it's rocky. It's not like a flat.
No. Yeah.
I've still got my ultimate switched on. This guy's messing about, and I'm trying to organise these people. And everybody knew I was doing it. So I had all this pressure. And I'm thinking, I'll carry it down on one knee. Lucky enough, the guy must have clocked it because he took a video of it. He didn't take a picture, he had a video, and I thought, I apologised to him after. I was like, come on, mate, I'm giving it. But yeah, I popped the question. Lucky enough, she said yeah, because bloody hell. Imagine if she said no. A long walk down, innit? And she says no, like. But yeah, I got down and I was all right. And that was the difference. So actually, the next morning, I got up and drove because we all stayed and went out for a big meal and a celebration that night. I was quite emotional.
Yeah.
Gave a speech because I did it on the 6th of October. Well, I lost my mum on the 2nd of October. The 6th of October, I had my best friend's mum passed away on the 6th of October. She was like a mum to me. I did it on her anniversary, so there was a lot of emotions.
Yeah,
and he was in the room with me, so there was a lot of emotions there. So it didn't really kick it. I cried then, but then me and the missus went to stay in this log cabin on this lake on the way back. We didn't even get out of the room because we ordered pizzas and dinner, and she'd surprised me with this. All my mates. It was kind of a last minute thing, but can name 3 things of Allan, or what you think of Allan, or 3 words to describe him, and that got me.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I
Then
bet.
just tears. I was
Waterfall.
crying my eyes out. Yeah, but just proud of myself. Yeah, it was good. But then I was a bit lost after it.
Yeah, like I've achieved this goal. Now what?
Yeah, the whole thing was a bit weird. So I did in the Lake District one weekend. So I was the first spinal cord injury walker to do 2,000-3,000 footers in a weekend. It sounds good, but then when I came off that, we drove home, and to get into our house, you go down 2 steps and then step into the house. I couldn't get down the steps again, and then I had to get my wife to strip me off. Sounds romantic, doesn't it? One night.
No, yeah, not quite like that. Yeah.
Sit me on the edge of the bath, turn my legs around.
Mm-hmm.
So I should have just had this celebration of climbing this mountain and everything. It reminded me of being back in hospital.
Mm-hmm.
You know, having somebody caring for me and not being able to move and all that kind of.
Yeah, so it's like I've done it, but at what cost?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was playing with my emotions all the time. I was going through a bit of a roller coaster with it.
Yeah. I know from the point of when you had your injury and invested in the Ferris wheels, etc. Now you're a counsellor.
Yeah.
And obviously you said you started writing that blog at one point and people started asking you for help and stuff. What was the journey like from there? Where did you think, oh, maybe I could actually do this? Maybe this is the path for me to go down?
A lot of friends said you should do it, but I never clicked on. And then people say, oh, I thought you should have done that years ago. I wasn't ready years ago to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a friend, my oldest friend, who I met when I went to infant school. Still really good mates with him now. We're still very, very close. He was very high up in the RAF, was just retired.
Mm-hmm.
And he said something to me on the night. I said, bringing 20 quid out with you is like bringing 150 quid out. Pissed at the time, you know, 2 lads. He says, you've come to Leeds, you've got no money. So in Bridge, you know, when you're getting free engaged, so you had money, people,
yeah, you
like with money. So you haven't done that. People are drawn to you because of you. He says, on a night out, someone's always coming up to you. You're always talking to somebody. And I'm quite, like I say, I'm not one of these alpha males. I'm not walking into it, look at me, you know, the loudmouth. I'm not. I'm actually more reserved and stuff like that. So he says, but there's always people coming up to you. You're always talking to someone, and they're coming up to me. I'm not somebody to go up to them. But it never really, it didn't really click with me. Kind of thing.
Yeah. Like harshly saying that, like just try to be nice type of thing.
Yeah, but it just didn't click. It does now.
Yeah.
It does click. And I've always been one to try and sort things and things like that. So I was just ready for it. After that, I think I thought, you know what? I tried actually. I got back into a routine. I thought I want to set up a business of helping spinal cord injuries. That was my initial thing of going. I got offered nothing. Nothing. The associations to deal with spinal, unless you're in a wheelchair, don't want to know. Nobody's ever reached out. Nobody's ever done out. You know, nobody's ever offered me anything. So I thought, do that. I only give people who've got walking that
give them the support. Yeah. Fill the
problem with spinal is nobody wants to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a bit of there's a lot of it going about at the minute. I had a bit of an attitude of my life experiences should be enough. Like you're getting a lot of coaches out there right now that are going, I've got over alcoholism. So follow my 12 steps and I'll get you out, you know, get in ice baths, get up at 4 o'clock and go for a run and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of crap.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm knocking ice baths.
Mm-hmm.
No.
If it works for you, it works. But that doesn't mean it worked for you.
Yeah, it don't work.
It's not a cookie cutter approach, is it?
And that's what a lot of these coaches out there at the minute are going, follow me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a load of, like I say, it's a load of bullshit. So I kind of had that attitude myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to go do level 2. But I'm dyslexic. So I was a bit nervous. I've not been back when I left school at 17 when I had my accident, I've not done any. So I'm like, shit.
Well, and anything academic.
So I thought I'll do like a course at home. Did that, really enjoyed it. So I thought, you know what, let's go do level 3. Level 3 counselling, the best course, because you just learn about yourself. It's so good. But at that time as well, what I'd done was on level 2, I went and got involved with a great charity in Brighouse called Turning Point, and I was classed as a sitter. So you basically opened the door for making cup of teas and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Which again played on my mind a little bit because I was like, I used to drive a Range Rover. Yeah. Now I'm doing this. But I was like a sponge because I was around counsellors. So I was just asking and learning how an organisation works and just trying to, and knowing that I'd never had a job. So placements are like rocking horse shit in counselling. You have to do 100 hours volunteer work when you do level 4. They're like rocking horse shit. I thought, I need to stand out over all these other people. But if I know this organisation, not that I'm guaranteed a place, I have to really mess up. But I'm already in with them. So I'm already that one step ahead of the game kind of. And then I had it in my head how I wanted my private practice to look and all that kind of stuff.
And it was kind of like visualising where it was that you wanted to be when you were starting out on that journey as well.
It's changed counselling.
Yeah.
I went to college to tick a box. I learned a theory called person-centered, which basically is that the person sat in front of you is the expert. So like you're the expert of yourself. It's just when people are struggling they don't realise it. But it's also can be quite wishy-washy, kind of like, how does that make you feel? You know, and what people think of, come and lay my shares long, and man's nothing like that. Man is, like I was mentioning, I was talking to somebody about football today. You know, and I build up that relationship to go, right, I come from a place. So when we go back to the money, at one point it sounds like that wheel was a massive failure. At one point it was earning really good money. It was only because greed got in the way that it all kind of went wrong. It was earning good money. When it was earning good money, I still couldn't open the curtains. Those pills are still next to my bed. Obviously I don't earn that money now. I won't say I jump out of bed every day. I can't jump for one, but I don't jump out of bed every day. But I love what I do. You know, I'm so passionate about what I do. I part of people's, I hate the word journeys because it sounds like X Factor, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Part of that. When
of course.
Into my room struggling, rock bottom. I know what it's like to be rock bottom. It's shit. It's lonely. It's crap. If I can help that person get back functioning, come on, let's have this. Be a team.
Yeah.
Let's sort this shit. My strap line is making counselling work for you. It's got to look that on the directory. Really, like, let's get shit done. Not like not from a coach's point of view, like do what I say. But I might chuck something at you and go, what about this? But I need you to be honest with me and go, oh, that was shit, I've tried it. So not everything's going to work for you. We'll find something.
Yeah. No matter what it is, we'll find a way.
And it's like having that toolbox, and me being that counsellor is, because they say, well, you have endings and the client isn't supposed to rely on you. Like, well, what's wrong with having that safe space to go, do you know what? I don't need to, if I'm doing my job right, you shouldn't need to come and see me every week.
That's it.
My business model's terrible. It's crap.
Retention.
Like
out the window.
Value. I don't put any value on money. I put value on that, getting those. And I always say, like, you put 100 people, how many out of 100 people, how many are going to say I love my job? Exactly.
So I think enjoying what you do on a daily basis, waking up and actually going, you know what, I'm making a change. I'm enjoying this, is worth more than having money in the bank.
Like I came in tonight, because it's tough days, they're hard. But that's when I've got to be a couple of steps ahead of everybody else, knowing myself. But I basically sell. Sounds like so, but to get you to function, to be the expert yourself, to know why you do certain things. How do you work as a person? I know exactly how I work as a person. I know what I do, what I'm going for. Like, it's just knowing yourself. So I knew I had a few drinks and said a couple of stupid stuff on Saturday night of that, trying to get into a bar. I woke up next morning and emailed the bar straight away and apologised because I was being obnoxious prick going back to me. Something happened. I just lost my nan. I lost my nan last week. So,
sorry for your loss.
Yeah, cheers. But it obviously played on my mind without me. So, all right, actually.
And then once you've had a little tipple, it's snuck through.
Something going on for me there. I need to speak to somebody about that.
Yeah, that's it.
To sort that shit out.
So it's like catching yourself doing these things and being conscious of how
people think you're going to wear a magic wand and you're never going to suffer from anxiety again. You're never going to suffer from depression. You shouldn't. Anxiety, you will. because you've got to normalise certain anxieties. You know, I was probably a bit anxious coming over here tonight. Do you know?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So you have to normalise that.
That's true, actually. I've kind of started doing that in the last year. I think after COVID and stuff, I was struggling a little bit with anxiety. And it was for things that I probably should have been anxious about, like the first gig I was going back to, or the first time I was going back to Ellen Road. And I remember sitting like proper driving myself mental over it. But now when I look back at it, I'm like, obviously he's more nervous. Like I should be nervous for that.
Exactly that.
Then there's a lot of people that confuse. It's in the same way that sadness and depression become one and the same. Nervousness and anxiety, and it's like those aren't.
I used to get people filling a form, and it's in the past week, have you felt anxious or nervous? Not being none at all, for being very often. I thought, I can't get people down to naught. So how can I get them to fill in that form if I can't get me down to naught? Can't do it. So I'll never do something that I won't do myself. So I don't try and get somebody to function if I'm not functioning myself. And I'm so self-aware that I can't do that. So, but I'll always be prone to depression because I've suffered it. I should never ever go back there. I'm allowed a bad day. I'm allowed 2 bad days. And it's getting people to realise that. I'm going, listen, you've had a couple of bad days. We're not, like we spoke before about motivational speakers and all. I'm telling you now, nobody's that. Hey, come on, every day.
No. Yeah. It's just not possible.
It kind of reminds me of like a diet where sometimes if you're on a diet for gym and you have one bad thing, like you have one biscuit, you could just have that biscuit, but then you end up eating the whole pack and giving up on the whole diet for the rest of the month. Whereas in reality, you could just have that pack and go, all right, shit, I need to get back on it tomorrow or day after instead of counting yourself out completely.
Yeah. Well, they have these things. There's one like he starts Monday and all that kind of crap. It's like, just know yourself. Give yourself a bit of leeway and like, what's going on for me? You always, especially what I do, bring it back to you. Because a lot of people come with, has it come from my parents? Has it done this? It's always somebody else like, well, how about you? Always bring it back to you. And that's my niche, my skill set is getting that person to come in. I always ask a question in the first session, usually towards the end, and say, you name 3 things you like about yourself. And honestly, virtually everybody sits in front of me, shits himself. Oh, it's me that one. And you can see, just like, listen, don't worry. That's why you're here.
No.
We'll get you. I'll say, I'll get you stood at my table. Well, I always say it, but I said, I don't want you to stand. So
metaphorically.
Take shoes off if you're gonna. I feel that. By the time like I said, I never finish with a client, but by the time we get you to here, you'll be able to stand on my table and go, I love myself, and name 3 things. And it's not in an arrogant way. I love myself, but not like, look at me, arrogant. It's like, I can't tell you I love myself, but trying to get you to love yourself.
That's it.
Work.
That's it. Yeah.
It don't work.
And there's also people that say, how can you love someone else if you can't love yourself in the first place?
But it's bang on.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that after your accident and you'd walked out of the hospital, you'd been awarded that money. It looked really good from the outside, but not many people like asked you about how you were actually feeling. And you maybe started opening up a lot more about that in the last few years. How do you think it's going? We've spoke quite a lot about like men's mental health and stuff on here, and I feel like the needle is moving a little bit on that. Like more and more men are doing things like going to counselling and talk about it and like are quite open about it. How much do you think that's changed in the last like 10, 15 years?
Massive, isn't it? There's still, I think the problem is, I always sound a bit wrong when I say this, but there obviously is a stigma around mental health. There's more of a stigma around counselling. Because it's like, I want my clients to go away and go, I've got to speak to them. I've got somebody I've got to, not that I'm the right counsellor for everybody. When I give people a 10-minute call first, I also go do your research because my style's like this. That might not work for you. It's about you, not me. And it's happened 4 times where somebody's gone, do you know what, I found somebody else. Good. Because we probably wouldn't work.
Yeah, that's it.
But people are going, it's all right. The only one thing I've got is like we're getting a lot of, it's good to talk, it's okay to talk and all that kind of stuff. I'm a bit of a, you've got to go to a group every week. Something else going on. You shouldn't need to go to a group every single week and to say people's lives have been saved. It's great that it's good, if you've had a crap week and you've got somewhere to go.
Definitely.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just wish places would go.
If it's somebody that's been there, countless weeks on end, let's have a...
Yeah, because there is a difference.
Yeah.
Like I say, I don't want to see what clients are because I think I'm not doing my job very well. So why do you need to go to a group every week? But I think they're doing great stuff for people that
again, it's what works for you.
Yeah.
And it's a situation
You
of
shouldn't have to be going to.
that's it. Yeah, that shouldn't have to be what you rely on.
No.
To move yourself
There's more
forward.
going on if that's the case. But it's obviously moving in the right direction because people are talking about stuff is getting advertised and it's all right. And I think the biggest stuff about being cool, the coolest thing to me is knowing yourself.
Yeah,
and being content in yourself is much cooler than any pair of shoes you can own. And
yeah, the way I describe it is, if you like a heartbeat monitor, say that's everybody's normal's different. Our normals will be completely different. You know what I mean? And that's cool. So as long as you know you're normal, it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah.
But say normal's there. My job is to get you to this heartbeat, just to be up. You can be above it. Some days you might be above it. But when people come say it says mad one, like that. So my job's to help you get to there.
Yeah. What would you say, and this might be a pretty difficult question to answer, but what would you say some of the more common things that you've seen in the last few years have been like? Is there any issues that you see people regularly come in with that I don't know, maybe there's a bit of a trend in some areas?
Biggest one at the minute is controlling partners. Have you heard the word narcissist?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Getting chucked about a lot in it.
Yeah.
That's a massive one at the minute. Massive one.
I think again, it's that in itself is a similar situation where, like with men's mental health, where it's becoming more the norm. So it's not just that people are accepting it more; it's also people are noticing it more and getting into the mindset of, oh, here are all these things that it could be.
When it's coming to guys as well, it's coming from both. You know what I mean? It's not just men and women.
Yeah,
it's coming. When the guys are coming in, what they tend to struggle is being a guy, and that's happened to them. And then they can't get their head
kind of the masculine side of it. No,
it's trying to drop that because, hang on, you're just a person.
Yeah, we're all humans.
We've got to take that male female bit out of it.
I'll tell you what's really weird as well. We did an episode earlier this week with someone called Dr. Zara Brody, and she was talking about how much that type of like controlling relationship and domestic abuse and stuff went up throughout COVID, but also how she's trying to persuade people to give funding and stuff, because a lot of the relationships that developed those kind of relationships in that time, it'll have seemed normal for like 2 years. So then now we're out of it, people are starting to realise that it's not normal, but they might have already been with that person for a few years now at this point. So it's going to be difficult for them to recognise that that's not how it should be.
Recognise the red flags and that. But that's where some like social media comes in. Well, and I have a love-hate relationship with social media. We were talking with you when you said about doing reels and stuff.
Yeah.
My wife said to me, she said, so many counsellors out there doing reels and anxiety, depression. And my wife was like, you should get on that. I was like, I sell myself on being genuine and part. I said, that isn't me. And I said, people that see me, because I have I've got two, the counselling page that before, didn't we? So I've got two social media. I've got my private and my work's one. Says I've got clients on there. They see me doing real, and then they're going to come into my room. All of a sudden, that relationship's changed because
a completely different person.
They're getting me passionate, genuine. All of a sudden, if I'm pointing and doing real, not that. Do you know what I mean?
It's not. Yeah. Again, your style. Yeah.
Like I haven't really got TikTok. My wife spends a lot of time on TikTok. I've got an account, but I've seen her make one. I've seen how long it takes, and I'm thinking, well, by the time I've finished these clients today, I ain't got time to do a TikTok. I'm like, God, my head.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Yeah. Oh, mate, it's painful. Just like we posted quite a lot on TikTok, and
I was looking at the good.
The one video that did really well, like our most viewed thing ever, was just me saying that you shouldn't get mac and cheese on a Sunday dinner at Toby Carvery.
Yeah,
it's like
no, I said no, you can't do that. Yeah.
That's all kinds of wrong.
But we've put some great ones up that get like 2,000 views, and then that got like how many? Nearly
half a minute.
Nearly half a million.
Really? Yeah, just a 7-second clip of him saying that. Just
really,
and I'm like, I've spent hours editing ones like with politicians and stuff and big people, and it's had 1,000 views. Some of them even less than that. And then that one that took me 5 minutes, it is just me chatting shit about a car. Did really well.
I'm with you on that one. But yeah. That's all kind of wrong. Are you pineapple on pizza?
I would never order it, but if it was like at a wedding or something, I'd still eat it.
Yeah, I'm probably with you. Yeah.
Do you know, like I would
never order. Yeah.
But I never get a Domino's and get a pineapple on pizza.
I'm Domino's.
The shit.
Yeah, but
tough times. Yeah, and you're like, well, I'm not eating that tomorrow.
Yeah, she does that. But yeah, I've started getting a bit more political the older I'm getting. I mean, my wife is.
I think it's definitely something that over the past few years I've also gotten a bit more into. But again, it's all sorts of stuff like it's just the effect that, unfortunately, talking about it, which I hate doing, is COVID has had on everybody in the ways that you kind of start to want to look into policies and find out what they do. And also with how the economy's gone now, how everything's going downhill, everything costs a bomb. You just kind of have to force yourself into
COVID one. The one that game is the party. Because that's the one thing. Cause
that party game,
everybody was like, well, you should do this, COVID. And nobody knew, because none of us, it's not like I probably don't really support a party, to be honest. That's political. My wife's a Liberal Democrat. I'm not really. I've shown more interest because it's so we can have conversation. But the one thing I don't agree with is how they've been. But when COVID did it, it's like, well, nobody knows what to do here.
Yeah.
So it's easy to point fingers and stuff like that and go, well, they should have done this. Well, nobody knew.
Yeah.
But one thing we can all relate to is, you're not to party.
Yeah, they definitely should have been doing that.
Yeah. We've been told, well, you can't party, and then they're all getting off their heads.
Yeah, I know. Ridiculous,
like,
I know. Yeah, that were it. Yeah.
That'll come back to kick you in the nuts. Well, that one.
That was the beginning of the end, I think. Yeah.
I think the problem with my problem with politics at the minute is it's just like, as you said, the rules are just completely different. Like, I've seen politicians like talking about food banks and stuff, whereas in Westminster you get discounted meals because you're a politician on $100,000 a year, and it's just baffling, really, isn't it?
I walked through Leeds last Tuesday. I walked past. I live near down near Leeds Dock. I walked past the Palace pub and into town. I walked past 2 food banks, and it really hit me. It upset me, because I was like, this shouldn't be happening. Just seeing like families there, and I'm like, shit.
In this country as well, it's like it's unbelievable. No, not at all.
It's like I say, I'm not. I try not to be political too much, but we just shouldn't be living like that.
Something's not right.
And a bit of me thinks. So with my wife, I know she's in it for the right. She's not in it for her ego or anything. She's out cleaning bloody graffiti. Or she wants to live in a better area. She's out cleaning graffiti off bloody bus stops. Like penis. That somebody's good. She's like,
That's the biggest one I've seen.
And she's in it for the right reason.
Yeah, of course.
And I think we get more people like it, because I think sometimes Liberals can be far too that way, then these go far too that way. And it's like, surely there's enough people, intelligent people, that go, it's not about me and my ego. How do we make this country better? There must be enough people to sit in a room and go, what do we do?
Yeah, what's gone on? Yeah.
Common sense to go, how do we move this forward? Because it's like the thing where they're doing about the boats at the minute, and it's like, obviously not everybody can. Like Gary Lineker's been on Twitter today speaking complete sense, in my opinion. It's like, well, not everybody can come in, but you just can't send people out. Do you know, there's got to be some middle ground of how we all talk. And go, how do we work this out?
Well, I think when we had John Battle on a couple of months back, who was the MP for Leeds for like 20 years, and he had held high positions in the Labour government, and he was talking about how, and this is someone that was literally like the Minister of Foreign Affairs and a bunch of different high titles, and at one point he said, and even now I'm at the point where I don't even know if like the current system as it is how it should work. Like, I'm looking at young people and thinking, if you've got a better idea, then it looks like it might be about time to like change the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I look at it. Like, even I think no matter what party was in, we'd have like similar levels of corruption. And I think a lot of the problems are things that are away from the government's hands. It's more like Amazon and stuff are over here not paying tax, Starbucks. It's things like that, and those big companies. And as you said, there must be enough people that are sensible enough to get around the table and say, all right, well, obviously you've got to make some money, but do you really have to put the prices up when your profits have already gone up 200%? Like, there needs to be something
around that. It's just, it's kind of, it drives me mad.
It's one of those things that is like, I've gotten more into it, but the more I get into it, the more I wish I never got into it. But you think, if I could not think about this shit.
Yeah, and I only started really to have conversation with my wife and support her and stuff.
I feel like it is one of them topics that, I mean, I kind of slightly do the same with football, where I just keep up to speed enough that I can, keep a conversation going and that. Whereas then when it comes to politics, it's the same, where you have to stay to a level, because somebody will come out of nowhere and say, have you heard they've passed this new bill where this, that, and the other? And you go,
I'm not intelligent enough to have that. Do you know what I mean? I can go, right, these are my views. And like I say, sometimes far left says, oh no, that's a bit too much, but then the far, that's too much. I'm like,
That's all right though. Like the thing is, you don't have to be right, and it doesn't always have to be right. But I am going to ask you for a prediction now, just to finish it off on a fun note. It is so this episode is going to come out next Friday. So whoever's listening will already know what's happened in the Premier League, right? So what's your predictions? At the minute, Southampton are already down, and then it's between Leeds, Leicester, and Everton for the other spots.
So you've got Tottenham.
Yeah.
Do you want the just short answer? Or do you want
No, we can
go for it.
we can go into it a little bit. Yeah, we got
So you've
time.
got Tottenham, haven't you? Is it away at home?
At home.
Tottenham are crap at minute.
Yeah, but
fancy
so are Leeds.
Yeah, so yeah, to be fair.
Tell you what, I've sat in that cop before when Leeds scored in the last minute. I've been to a lot of Leeds games, so I've got I'll never see that cop again. I feared for my life.
It's something else, isn't it? Yeah.
It's nice to walk for 30 out.
Yeah. It's nice to look at from a distance, to not be in.
Yeah, exactly that. Leicester got West Ham, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. And it's
That's at home,
Leicester's at home, yeah.
So all three of us are at home, aren't we?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hey, do you know what? It's Everton. On paper, we should stay. And I think out of 19 scenarios, we go down on 6 or 5.
We out of the 19 scenarios, we only stay up on 4.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. I seen it the other day. I sent it in the group chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of those, including that snow, is us beating Tottenham. So, yes, it was very unlikely.
Of course, I can't not go with us, can I?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't trust. Like I say, on paper, it's Everton, Bournemouth at home should smash them, but they put 7 past us in December. You know, in a week, for 2 games, and we've got no right back, got no left back, got no striker.
I think the thing that I'd be happy about if I were you is the fact even if you lose, Leeds aren't going to win. So
If you know, it's been a bit of a bad one for me because I like Leeds. I've got mates that support Leeds. I've got a place here. So I want the City to have a Premier League team. I love Leeds. I love Leeds. I want them to have a Premier League team.
Mm-hmm.
My best mate is, my best man is Forest fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Everton fan. So, you know, ideally I'd want all 3 of us to stay up.
In the same
I
league.
want Leeds to go down, don't I?
Yeah.
But if it's Leeds or Everton, as much as I love this city, Everton's had me depressed for 40 years.
Yeah. Funny enough, on a similar vibe, I was talking to my old man last night, and we were both saying, like, to be honest, both of us should be Premier League teams.
Yeah.
Like, as should Leicester, really, after the last couple. Yeah, only 5-6 years ago, wasn't it? So, yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to Championship next year.
If we do go, we'll do what happened to Leeds and Man City. That's what I believe.
Like, drop off.
Yeah, I think, because I just think with the finances,
Yeah, you've got a big wage bill, like
massive
huge.
wage bill. We've got the new ground.
That's going to be costing a lot.
So we're earning Goodison Park for another season. I think if we go, we go big time. I do not see us doing a Burnley.
And he's going to keep slipping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see us bouncing back.
I think the same at Leeds, though, because as much as we don't have quite as bad financials, we're set up to a point where if we go down, most of our players' wage bills get cut in half, which is good.
Yeah.
But they're all just going to leave. All the good ones that'll do well in the Championship, like, are just going to go straight away.
It's going to become a championship.
Yeah, with them,
if we go down, we'll just stay there, I reckon.
Our owners are proper tight, so we're not going to buy any Championship players. They'll think, we'll risk it for a season, play youngsters and see if we can bounce back up. But yeah, a positive way to end it. We'll see.
Meeting after. I'll be ignoring your calls.
Don't put it out. No, but thank you so much for joining us, Alan. Really love this conversation. Like, honestly, some of the stuff you've been through and the point you're at now is really good to see, and it should definitely motivate other people, especially like if you're in a job you hate and you're thinking about doing something else as well, or in a position where you think you can better yourself. Do it. And if you're in Leeds, go talk to Allan.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Cheers.